Okay, people, welcome to another episode of FBA All Day, the show all about justice and understanding for our people. I am the Lord Eric Steele, aka Big Rossi Love, a perpetual student of the survival scrolls, where if you know, you know. Today's episode comes to us from an email sent in with this question. It's all about this ongoing case with Nolan Wells. There's a lot of things being speculated on right now, and at this point, I'm going to refrain from talking about the children in this case. I'm going to refrain until I have more information on that. What I'm going to give my opinion on and give my thoughts and understanding on what I see so far is with the adults, is with those with specific responsibilities and with jobs to do when it comes to this sort of a thing. This is who I'm going to focus on. Okay, this is who we're going to dig into this evening on this episode. This is who we're going to deal with. All right. Now, the first person that I'm going to bring up in any instance when you're thinking about something that happened to Nolan, which I consider a murder. We are all adults here. We have to be reasonable. Use your common sense. This is a murder case. All right. It's a murder investigation at this point because Nolan is dead, and he's not dead of his own accord. That this much is true. This much is fact. There's no sense in even going on and on because if that was not the case, they would have said so already. It would have been open and shut if that was the case, and it's not. Okay, there's too many ups and downs, too many variables that's left open, and those variables are not left open when it's not murder. Okay, when that's the case previously, and we're using this from case study, it's always foul play. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Here at FBA All Day, we're gonna keep it real. I'm gonna talk to you like adults and people with common sense. Foundational Black Americans, we are the most moral people on the planet. We know right from wrong, and we can feel it. We see it. It is what it is. This is a murder case, okay? All right. Now, when it comes to a murder, we have law enforcement who's responsible for this stuff. Now, in Mississippi, the law enforcement officer who was in charge down there, his name was Sheriff John Ledbetter. Sheriff John Ledbetter. Okay. Now, when this came to light, when the body was found, Sheriff Ledbetter showed up on the scene, and within an hour, miraculously, within an hour, he was saying, "There's no foul play, no foul play." He said his initial statement was, "There's no foul play." In an hour, he came to that conclusion. Okay, it's kind of quick. It's funny style, but it's not really enough, to really raise antennas because you would think things would go away if there was really no foul play, and he said there was no foul play, and then if the facts bore that out, that would have been it. Oh, but that's not what happened. So now that we know that's not what happened, now that we know that this didn't just go away, it exploded, and that's because of something that we love to live on. That's called facts. Facts started playing a part. Okay? Little tidbits of information started falling out. Like they found the body of this boy. When they found the body, he didn't have his phone. He has a heavy social media presence, but for some reason, he didn't have his phone. He didn't have his phone, and he didn't have the keys to his car. So then your natural mind has to start wondering, how did he get to where he is? How did he get on this island? See, now you have to start asking this major question. Why? Why is he on this island? Why is he alone? Why doesn't he have his phone? Why does he not have his keys? These questions have to be asked and answered. Okay? So you can't just say there's no foul play if you don't have the answers to these questions. Got to have the answers to these questions. Okay? So, when he said that, after an hour, initially, we were tending to say, okay, maybe this is just a tragedy, but then inconsistencies started happening. We started getting inconsistent stories from the kids who participated, and then the parents and so forth. Things just started taking on a mind of its own. It became blatantly obvious that what he said was not the case. Okay? So we'll put a pin in that. Okay? Because now, after things are rolling, all of a sudden, I mean, he was really quick to come up with, within an hour, he was saying there was no foul play. Now that we find out that there's inconsistencies and there's other facts popping up, now he doesn't want to be rushed. One of his last statements was he doesn't want to be rushed. He's not going to be rushed now. Now that it's an open investigation, he ain't going to rush. He's not going to rush. So we'll stick a pin in that and we're going to come back. All right? So you start thinking, okay, that's weird. So we'll put a pin in that. Now, when we think of responsibilities in a murder, you have to take into account that there's something called a medical examiner. Once they take the body and they bring the body back to be reviewed and investigated and goes through an autopsy where they try to get the evidence to figure out what happened to the young man, we have something that's so... It really lights me up when I find out from my own personal investigations and I dig up these things where it feels like a cover-up. I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. It feels like a cover-up. It smells like a cover-up. Everything about it appears to be a cover-up. All right? Now, when I'm speaking of the initial ideas of where this cover-up is beginning, we already heard what the sheriff said, so now we'll take the medical examiner. Now, we may be looking at the worst chief medical examiner in the history of medical examinations. This lady is either the most incompetent person at her job, which I personally do not believe. I believe she knows exactly what she's doing because she's not just a medical examiner. She's the chief. Okay? She's the chief medical examiner in the state. Okay? Her name is Stacy Turner. Here's a picture of Stacy Turner. This lady. Okay. If you have one bad diagnosis, that's horrible. If you misdiagnose one family's beloved has been misdiagnosed, or you made some kind of determination that was a little bit off, that's horrible. This lady has what I can only describe as a pattern. She has a pattern of misdiagnosing black incidents. If it's a black man or a black child that's been harmed in some kind of way, for some reason, all her medical training and all her medical skills she doesn't know. She can't figure it out. She just doesn't know. She can't determine. Oh my God, she can't determine. You know what? Let me be specific. Let me give you some cases. Okay? We have in 2021, there was a black man named Damian Cameron. Here's a picture of him. Mr. Cameron had been ruled, she ruled his death accidental, even though he had internal neck bleeding. There was obvious internal neck bleeding. 3 independent pathologists later reviewed the case and countered that it should have been ruled a homicide from the beginning. Now, let me dig into that a little bit different. Let me give you a little bit more. After this lady said that she didn't notice anything, she said that his death was undetermined. Let me give you a little insight into what happened with Cameron. After the investigator said that she missed clear signs that the deputies suffocated him while he was being subdued. Clear signs. That's what the family had to get other examiners to come and check the body because she couldn't determine. It was too hard for her. All her skills and right out the window when it was this black man who was killed by the police. All of a sudden, she couldn't figure it out. All of a sudden, her medical training is out the window. Even though there was internal bleeding. You know what? Listen. When Damian Cameron's body arrived at Mississippi State Medical Examiner's office in August 2021, it had all the signs of police brutality. That's what this last expert said. He said his face was bloody and swollen, almost beyond recognition from the struggle with the county sheriff's department the week before. Now, she had the body. She seen the face beat up, but she couldn't determine the death. Signs of internal bleeding in the neck of Mr. Cameron, who was 29 years old. It suggested that the deputy pinned him to the ground with the knee. A dangerous restraint that we are all familiar with. A dangerous restraint condemned by the Justice Department and banned in many cities. But when the state's chief medical examiner, when Dr. Stacy Turner completed her autopsy, she ruled the cause of his death as undetermined, which made a smokescreen because she said undetermined. So now the grand jury, they have an out, they have an exit. Now they can say they can not indict the deputies because the medical examiner says it's undetermined. That's what she said. That was her ruling, undetermined. This highly skilled chief medical examiner, and here's a picture of her. Here's Stacy Turner. She said she couldn't determine what could have possibly caused Mr. Cameron's death. Here's a picture again of Mr. Cameron. And here's a picture of him in the hospital as she seen the body. Just seemed like natural causes to her. She couldn't figure out why. Oh my God, why would he have died? People, we are living in what is called the system of white supremacy. You understand that? This is the system of white supremacy. And in every system, there's a part. Different individuals play a small part. It don't have to be a big part. It just has to be a small part to perpetuate the system. The sheriff says, oh, I don't know. The medical examiner says, I don't know. They put that in the report, so then when it goes to court and a jury trial, a jury gets to see that. They go, oh, but the medical examiner said it was undetermined. So, maybe it's not so bad. Or the sheriff said it was undetermined, so maybe it's not so bad. Each playing a small role in the system of white supremacy. It's very obvious what's going on in this same area. This same little area. That's that same medical examiner from the Nolan Wells case. It's the same one. And you say, oh, well, maybe one or two cases, maybe she got it wrong. Okay, one or two cases. I'll give you another. She was also the medical examiner for Mr. Trey Reed, 2025. Her office quickly ruled his death a suicide after he was found hanging in the Delta State University. Family, let me explain something to you. And for those individuals who are not FBA, but you just curious, looking on the outside, looking in, let me explain something to you about my people. Foundational Black Americans do not hang themselves. You got that? We do not hang ourselves. That's not something we do. All right? So every time you see a case where they say, oh, this person was found hanging, that person was lynched. If it is a foundational Black American, I'm saying it. Lord Eric Steele, I'm saying it right now. To your face, to whoever's watching, to whoever can hear the sound of my voice, foundational Black Americans do not hang themselves. That is nonsense. We just don't do it. This boy was the first in his family to make it to college. A bright boy, a positive boy, always talking about the future. They want you to believe that one day he just got up, went to the middle of campus, and hung himself. Here's a picture of Mr. Reed. Outstanding student. Worked hard to get into that college, to that university. Worked very hard to get there, even though it was predominantly attended by the dominant society. He was of a very small minority of black kids there, but he still made it there, and he went there to work hard. He did not hang himself. That I don't believe that, and I won't believe that. His parents don't believe it, and I don't believe it either. He was found hanging from a tree on the campus of Delta State University in Mississippi on September 25th, 2025. This boy was a computer science major, and he was the first generation, the first person in his family to go to college. He was described as ambitious and eager to create a future for himself and his family. Foundational Black Americans, does that sound like one of us who was going to commit suicide? Let's be real with yourself. Does that sound like the kind of people we are that would eventually hang themselves? And I don't even really need to wait for an answer because I already know what the answer is. No. We fight. We've always fought. Hanging yourself is a coward's way out. And that has nothing to do with foundational Black American at all. We do not hang ourselves. That's not something we do. After he was found hanging, the state's autopsy occurred on September 17th, and the findings were publicly announced the next day. The next day! By the Cleveland police. The autopsy, they found him the 17th. The state autopsy occurred the 17th, and the police announced it the next day. Suicide. Oh ho ho! But through my investigations, a verified source said that a second independent autopsy revealed the Delta State University student had blunt force trauma to the back of the head. Does that sound familiar? Aren't they having trouble right now with Nolan's case with trying to explain where that trauma from the back of his head came from? Same state, same examiner. She missed this one altogether. We had to get a second independent autopsy done where they found blunt force trauma to the back of the head. And that's in direct conflict to the suicide ruling. Cleveland, Mississippi is in the Delta region. It sits along U.S. Highway 61, about 120 miles south of Memphis, about 110 miles northwest of the state capital, and 35 miles from where Emmett Till was lynched 70 years ago. Same state, same people. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. Let me ask you a question. This is something that I want to ask my students as I challenge you to have your own train of thought. I'm looking for signs of original thought here. Let me ask you a question. If we all acknowledge that there was a racist element in the South previously, in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s, if we can acknowledge that there was a racial element in existence then, what happened to it? What happened to that racial, what happened to the Klan? That all of a sudden everybody got together and said, okay, let's get together, hold hands, we're not going to be racist anymore. Is that what happened? Is that what you think happened? Or did those people have children? Because there's many photos of hangings and you see those people there with their children at a lynching of a black man. They've literally brought their kids. They announced it in Sunday service. Hey, we're going to have a picnic where we're going to hang a nigger, or we're going to hang a black person this Sunday. Y'all come on out and bring your kids. And they used to show up with their children and watch the lynching of a black person, most of the time an innocent one. What do you think happened to those people? What do you think happened to those kids? Did they just disappear? What happened to that mindset? It takes a very special kind of human to watch the demise of another human and feel nothing and smile. What happened to that mindset? Was it passed down to their kids from generation to generation like a family tradition? What happened to the robes? How come we never see the robes in like a yard sale? You never went by a yard sale and seen an old Klan robe hanging there, or you never went in a Goodwill store or went by a secondhand store and seen a Klansman robe. You've never seen that. Why? Just some questions. I'm trying to spur your thought there. So we have this medical examiner, Stacy Turner. She can't when it's a black person, for some reason it's always undetermined. She don't know why. She can't. I don't know what caused the death. She has all her medical training, years of schooling and qualifications. All of a sudden, she has no idea. She can't determine. She can't determine it. With this Nolan's case, she has the boy's throat. All the rest of the body she returned. We can automatically determine, okay, all this is fine. Give us the part that you have, because we can't determine without that. And she knows it. That's why she hasn't released it. I'm guessing maybe the larynx is crushed, maybe a crushed windpipe or something, and she ain't releasing it. She's not releasing it on purpose. And I don't know why she would have it. She can't determine things. She has trouble determining when it's our people for some reason. She can't. Her medical skills is out the window. She has no idea. All of a sudden, the human body is a big mystery to her when it comes to black men or black kids. She don't know. She can't determine nothing. All of a sudden, she has no idea. The black eyes, broken nose, and tooth. She can't for that. I have no idea what could have. He got hurt. He died. I don't know. She has no idea. She's one part. So we have the sheriff. We have the medical examiner so far. I want to talk to you about someone else because she has more. There's more cases with that lady. You might think, oh, one or two cases. Oh, no, she has more. You can look up Shannon Wilson from 2022. Look that up if you want some more on her. She has a long history of not being able to determine what's going on with black people. There's a long history of that. But I'm going to step off of her for a second. I'm going to step off of Stacy, and I'm going to ask you another question. The boy, what's his name? His name is, what's the boy's name? There's a boy who's involved in this thing, and his mom has something to do with it as well. I'm going to get into that, but it's okay. So let's hold on, let's do the list. First, we have the sheriff John Ledbetter, okay? Sheriff John Ledbetter first said there was no foul play, okay? He hasn't made any arrests. There's an open investigation, but he's made no arrests. And you say, wow, Lord Eric Steele, why you want him to go straight to arrest? Well, I'll tell you. There was a party that these kids attended, okay? All these kids are underage. But according to reports that I've heard, there was alcohol at that party. Okay, so there's two things right there. There's that boy's missing phone. Those people had his phone. Why did they have his phone? The sheriff, he's clueless. He can't. That's a question. He can't. He can't even figure that part out. He don't know how to ask them. Why did you have that boy's phone? That's never crossed his mind. Okay, there's no foul play to him. It's just no foul play. Why did you have that boy's phone? That's the first thing. Two, if there was alcohol at that party, who bought it? Who bought the alcohol? Were there adults involved? Did adults procure that alcohol for those kids? If so, who? What do they know? Why are they not coming forward? Some questions that a sheriff, I'm just giving you some ideas that a sheriff should have. These are some questions that a sheriff should want to bring up. Okay? Why did you have the boy's phone? Who brought the alcohol to the party? Who paid for that? You have to show ID to get alcohol, so it had to be somebody of age. Who did it? Who bought the alcohol? If it was an adult, now we have even more questions. Why are you giving somebody, it should be somebody in custody at the very least, is all I'm saying. But I'm going to stop there and we're going to move on. Okay? We have the stepmother of one of the friends present during the death or in this tragedy. Somehow they're related. Her name is Chancellery Court Judge Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole. I have a lot of questions for her as well. I know that her stepson is involved. His name's Warren Hudson. He's involved in some way. He was a part of this party that Nolan was at. He was on the boat trip to Horn Island in Mississippi. Let me tell you something. Mississippi judges are entrusted with one of the highest responsibilities in the justice system. Okay? They have to uphold the law fairly, impartially, and in a manner that preserves public confidence in the courts. This is a part of the oaths that they take to become a judge. When you become a judge, you have to get sworn in. And these are the things and rules you have to live by. Okay? Responsibility for a judge is very stringent. Okay? This confidence is called into question when a judge publicly comments on an active death investigation involving her own son. She is making comments publicly identifying herself as a judge. That's a major no-no. That's a major no-no. And why? So here we go. Another cog in the system. We have the sheriff. We have the medical examiner. Now we have a judge. Another cog in the wheel. This is the system of white supremacy, and they're all doing things that they should know better. They're all doing things that they should know better. This is not the first time around for any of them. These are all seasoned professionals, all of them. There's no excuse for these mistakes. Okay? Judges generally should not make public comments on ongoing cases. Ethical codes strictly prohibit this to maintain fairness and protect public trust. Unethical behavior by a judge is known as judicial misconduct. It includes accepting bribes or gifts, having private talks with only one side of a case, failing to step aside when there is a conflict of interest, which is what she should be doing. She should be somewhere sitting down and being quiet. She has a major conflict. Her stepson is involved. He's one of the last people to see this boy before he showed up dead. She should be saying nothing. This is not my opinion. Okay. Bias and conflicts of interest. Judges in a case where the judge has a personal stake, financial interest, or known prejudice towards a person or group. She's already going to have a prejudice because that's her son. Do you see that? She should not be saying anything. She should be making no police reports. She shouldn't be saying anything that she doesn't know what she's talking about yet. Okay. Improper communication. Discussing a pending case with attorneys, witnesses, or parties when the opposing side is not present. This is all types of misconduct for judges. She's violating all kinds of them. Corruption or financial gain is taking bribes, kickbacks, expensive gifts, or using the power of the judge's office to get special favors for family and friends. This is judicial misconduct. By her saying nothing is wrong, she's tainting a jury pool right now. Because anybody that's watching this will hear her saying nothing is wrong, no foul play. You see? When she shouldn't be saying anything, that's called judicial misconduct. And you might say, well, maybe she's young. Maybe she's just young. I'll tell you this. She received her bachelor's from the University of Miami in 2009. This is not her first go-around. She knows the law. Her JD from the University of Mississippi School of Law in 2012. She knows the law. She was a staff attorney for the 16th Chancellery District from 2012 to 2013. She handled family law matters at her own private practice at the Cole Law Firm from 2014 until she was elected in 2022. She's not making a mistake. She's not mistakenly doing these things. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's running cover for her stepson. And this is called judicial misconduct. Now, what all these things alone would be bad enough. But when you run them in concert, you begin to see the system of white supremacy at play. Okay? This is what we are witnessing. They can pretend that it doesn't exist, but these are called facts. I'm not giving you my real opinion. I'm just giving you the law up to this point. My opinion of her as a parent, I'm withholding that. But I will tell you, as a judge, she should be held. The bar should be notified, and she should be facing repercussions right now because she is being completely out of line. Her behavior as a judge right now is unacceptable. She's made she's made several statements already. Public statements. How could she be impartial? I know you're saying, well, they're not in trial, okay, but she is tainting a jury pool potentially right now. She's potentially tainting the pool by making comments as a judge. She should be somewhere being quiet. She should be silent. She should not be making public statements. That's judicial misconduct. Okay? Lastly, I'm going to bring one more player to this. So we have the sheriff. We have the medical examiner. We have this judge, for some reason, who's just speaking, making public statements. That's a no-no. Okay? And you say these things they're all out of line for professionals who are supposed to be responsible. They're all acting irresponsibly. And they only seem to do that when it comes to our people. They only forget how they're supposed to behave or what they're supposed to do when it comes to our people for some reason. I'll stick a pin in that. Lastly, I'm going to bring to you another individual who's acting out of sorts, who should know better as this case goes on. I'm not even going to talk about TMZ and the way they're playing their part in this whole system because they're all in cahoots. TMZ is releasing and saying no foul play and doing all kind of when they don't know what they're talking about. Nothing has been determined yet. So how can you say there's no foul play when there's no final say yet? They're just playing their part. They're running cover. They're playing their part in the system of white supremacy. They're running cover for these kids who they feel, you know what I'm saying? They want to give these kids every benefit of the doubt. When if that table was turned, and we'll do that in a second, but let me stick to what I'm talking to you about now. I'm going to give you this last cog that I'm going to discuss with you guys this evening. It's Governor Tate Reeves. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves went on record saying that he has yet to see a fact or a piece of evidence that suggests any foul play. The governor. Anybody else find that strange? Like, why is the governor speaking? Why is he making statements? At the Fruitvale Station incident, when those cops murdered my boy, did the governor come out and speak? No, he did not. When Trayvon Martin was killed, did the governor come out and speak? No, he did not. When Mike Brown was killed, did the governor come out and speak? No, he did not. When Philando Castile was murdered, did the governor come out and make a statement? No, he did not. Why is the Mississippi governor making a statement? The governor, who is the highest official in state government, is the governor. To go higher than a governor, you have to go to the vice president and the president to go higher than a governor in politics. He's speaking on a small county in his state. One murder in his state. And for some reason, he felt compelled to make a statement. And just like I've done, I'm going to give you let me break it down for you. A state governor has no direct operational role in investigating, charging, or prosecuting a local county murder. Has no direct operational role. Local matters like homicide investigations and criminal trials are handled entirely by county district attorneys, local police, and county sheriffs. So why is Mr. Reeves making statements? Here's Mr. Reeves, Mississippi's governor. They're all running cover for one another. They're all running cover for one another. That's called the system of white supremacy. Any one of them could do the right thing, but you notice they all doing just enough not to. The sheriff determining that something's no foul play before he even knows what happened. He said no foul play an hour after he seen the body. Mind you, he's not an examiner. The sheriff doesn't examine the bodies. He can look at it, he can speculate, but he's not a medical examiner. He said, oh, no foul play here. He came to that conclusion just after seeing the body. Don't even know the facts, don't know why the boy's there, don't know anything. Don't know where the boy's phone is, don't know where the boy's keys is, none of that. Just no foul play. And those stories that they just come to a quick conclusion without knowing what they're talking about blows my mind. Oh, he might have drowned. Let me ask you something. Are you guys under the impression that black people can't swim? That's a stereotype. Nolan Wells could swim. He was on a swim team. He could swim. He could swim good. You see him in all his pictures he has on swim trunks. He ain't got them on just for looks. That boy know how to swim. He knew how to swim. They assumed he didn't because they didn't do any due diligence at all. They just assumed he couldn't, but he could. Ask his father. His father said he could swim. That's just a stereotype. I don't know where they get these stories from. I could swim. My sisters could swim. I don't. Most of the people I know can swim. Well, who is these magical black people that can't swim? That's just a stereotype. Don't believe the hype. Okay? These are the things that you have to ask yourself. And I'm bringing you these individuals and I'm showing them to you because I want you to understand this system that we are in. I know, and let me speak to my parents, particularly the fathers. I know you want the best for your kids and you want them to be in a community which you perceive to be a safe community. But let me tell this to you in 2026, we have not overcome. Your child being the only child in a group of the dominant society is not, and let me say it again, is not a safe space. Your child is in danger. Do you understand that? I've read off some names. Your child is in danger. Do not leave your child unattended, alone, with members of the dominant society. Your child is in danger. You heard it right here from Lord Eric Steele. I'm telling you, to all my fathers, FBA or not, your skin tone is golden and bronze. Your child is in imminent danger in a collection of dominances. If he's the only one, your child is in danger. I want you to look at this photo of Nolan sitting with the very individuals who he was with in the last moments of his life. They didn't call 911. They didn't try to administer help. And they're not even coming forward. If they didn't do anything with it, if they had nothing to do with it, why are they not telling the truth? Something definitely happened to him. He was in a fight. There's no question. Something definitely happened to him. And those parents, Ashley Cole, those people are advising these children not to talk, not to tell their sides of the story. Now, if the roles were reversed, if it was one member of the dominant society out with a group of our melanated brothers and kids, and something happened to that child, the world would come to a complete stop. People would have already have been arrested. They would have found out why they had the phone. Not only why do you have the phone, why did you delete stuff from the phone? Who gave you permission to delete something? It couldn't have been Nolan. He couldn't have told you to delete it. So why are you deleting stuff? And why has that not raised the suspicion of the sheriff? Why is nobody being investigated for that? Who deleted that? Would have been that should have been the first mode of operations. Oh, something's missing? Who deleted that? Who had the phone? These people should be arrested and they should be charged. There should be charges already. This is not rocket science. This case could have been handled by the Pink Panther a long time ago. This is Little Rascal work here. They only get ridiculously ignorant when it's one of our people who's been mistreated. When one of our people have been harmed, all of a sudden, professionally trained specialists, they go dumb. When it's a black person that's been harmed, all of a sudden, sheriffs and FBI agents, they forget their protocol. They forget their procedures. When it's one of the foundational black Americans, or if it's any black person, that's melanated person that has been harmed by the child of a judge, all of a sudden the judge doesn't understand what misconduct is. All of a sudden a skilled lawyer with years of achievements under her belt, all of a sudden Misconduct means nothing to her. All of a sudden, it's the law be damned to her. She gonna do whatever she feels like all of a sudden. Medical exam. You know how long you have to go to school to become a medical examiner? Just a medical examiner. Let alone the chief medical examiner in the state. All of a sudden, she doesn't know what blunt trauma is. She doesn't know what somebody's skull being bashed in looks like. All of a sudden, she has no idea. When it's one of us, all of a sudden, all her training and skills, all of a sudden, it's moot. She can't figure. It's too hard. She can't figure it out. It's undetermined. That's what undetermined means. Her statement, her official statement is undetermined. That means she can't figure it out. She couldn't determine how this happened. She has no idea how he died. Skull is bashed in, but she can't figure it out. I wonder what could have caused him to get hurt. I don't know why he would have stopped. Oh, he's got a bashed in skull. Come on, man. They're running cover for one another. And this is a pattern. This is called a pattern that I want you to recognize. They're hoping that we would just drop it. If we just drop it and nobody else talks about it, they would just say, "Oh, we couldn't figure it out. We don't know why." Justice for these kids. FBA all day. This show is all about justice. I'm bringing you facts. I bring previous facts of cases to you. And I want you to make your own determination. Use your own thought. Use your own brain power to pull your own and draw your own conclusions. There is a pattern that has formed here. Stacey Turner has repeatedly misdiagnosed black men. Black murdered men. She has repeatedly misdiagnosed. That's a pattern. Person who has been elevated to the position of judge, they know what it means to be unbiased. That's the whole point of being a judge. You have to be unbiased. This judge, for some reason, she's tainted. She just giving statements all over the place, making public statements all over the place all of a sudden. She don't see nothing wrong with it. This guy, this sheriff, this is the sheriff, the head of your law enforcement and your county. Doesn't look good, Mississippi. This is not a good look. And then your governor, the leader of your state, is making statements. He done chimed in where he does not belong. If he doesn't see any foul play, why is he talking? If he didn't see any foul play, why is he opening his mouth? It's just a question. He's running cover for his people. They're all on the same, it's all a piece, a cog in the wheel. Your sheriff, your medical examiner, we got this judge who's in the judiciary. Who do you think the prosecutors are going to have to deal with? Do you think she has friends? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that judge has friends? Even if it becomes a case and she's not the judge on the case, do you think the person that's going to get that case she might know? Do you think if there's charges brought and that this thing goes to a trial, do you think the jury would have heard about this case? Do you think the jury would have heard the judge say that nothing is wrong? Do you think she'll know one of the judges that would get this? Of course she would. Do you know who those judges would also answer to? The number one person in the state. Do you think the governor would want to force his word saying that nothing is wrong? What do you think he'd want to do to make sure that his word is not proven wrong? Think he'd be willing to call somebody? You think he'd be willing to make a call somebody? Hey, let this go. Let that go. I'm not saying it's happened, but at this point, how can we put it past anyone? They're doing all this. They're doing everything else wrong. Why would they stop there? That's all I'm asking. All right, Lord Eric Steele, we're going to keep an eye on this case. But I wanted to point out these people who have responsibility. These people who are elected and have responsibility. Your sheriff is elected, okay? That medical examiner was chosen to be chief medical examiner. Ashley is on a bench somewhere. She has responsibility, an oath to abide by that she's not abiding by. And the governor, he's got obviously he's got elected into office. He's an elected official. Mississippi, you put him there. Okay. Lord Eric Steele, this is a heartbreaking case, but I want you all to know, fathers, I want you all to know, don't let your kids be alone in these situations. Investigate where your kids are going. Find out who they're going to be around. It is your responsibility to watch out for your kids. You're the protector. You going to a party, who's going to be there? Anybody I know? No, nobody we know. You can't go. You cannot go. I don't want you there. I don't think you're safe. Don't let your kids hang around. Listen, at this point, letting your kids be in this situation, I have to start suspecting you. I have to start wondering what makes you think it was okay to let your child go with these people. After all these different ends, are you blind to what's happening? Are you not watching? Do you not see the news? He's not the first kid. They go up in these parties with these people and they don't come back. One would have been enough for me not to let mine go. All right. FBA All Day, Lord Eric Steele. This is a very interesting case. We're going to keep our eyes on it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're going to keep bringing it to you, but I want you to understand some people have responsibilities already. Out.